In a small village in England stood Hawthorn Manor, an old nursing home with a dark reputation. The residents often whispered about strange happenings, shadows moving when no one was around, the faint sound of a piano playing at night, and cold spots in rooms. Most dismissed it as imagination, but some believed the manor was haunted. Among the residents was Mrs. Clarke, a frail woman in her 80s, who had recently moved in. At first, she enjoyed the peace, but soon she began hearing whispers at night, soft voices calling her name. One evening, she followed the sound down a dim hallway and found herself standing before a closed door that she'd never seen before. The door was old and worn, with a keyhole but no key. But as she reached for it, the door creaked open on its own. Inside was a dusty room, untouched for years, with an old rocking chair slowly moving back and forth. Mrs. Clarke stepped in, drawn by an eerie compulsion. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind her. The air grew thick and cold. Mrs. Clarke turned, and there, in the rocking chair, sat a pale figure with hollow eyes, staring at her. The whispering voices grew louder, now pleading with her to stay. Terrified, Mrs. Clarke tried to run, but the door wouldn't budge. The figure rose, its skeletal hand reaching out. In that moment, the whispers stopped, and the room fell silent. The next morning, Mrs. Clarke was found in her bed, cold and motionless, her eyes wide open in terror. The door to the room was locked again, and no one spoke of the whispers or the figure in the rocking chair. Hawthorn Manor had claimed another soul.